Welcome to the panel, Focus on South America. Hope you had a good lunch, a networking lunch. First of all, I'd like to thanks to Jonathan Worsley and IHIF team to have this panel dedicated to our region. And the objective of this panel is to present opportunities and challenges that we have in the region for investing. Before going to a brief presentation, I would like to introduce the panelists that will join us with a panel discussion. On my left, Ricardo Mader. Ricardo is Executive Vice President of Advisory and Asset Management Services for John Lang LaSalle Hotels and Hospitality Group, based in Brazil, São Paulo. Ricardo holds more than 20 years experience in the consulting firm, and from my perspective, one of the most experienced and professional advisors in the region. So thank you, Ricardo, for joining the panel. Then José Roquet from Pestana Hotels and Resorts. José Roquet is member of the board of directors of the group and is heading the development and expansion plans of the group internationally. He was responsible first for expanding the brand and the hotels in Africa, then in Brazil, where he lives for how many years? 4 years living in Brazil. Not enough. Expanding the Pestana group, and in South America, and now in Europe and US. They have assets, hotels in Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and Venezuela. So the consultant expert world, the investor hotel operator world, and the official world in voice of Dr. Jean-Marcel Fernandez, Director of Financing and International Tourism Promotion of the Ministry of Tourism in Brazil. Graduated in law in São Paulo with an international master's degree in the University of Buenos Aires. Jean-Marcel holds a strong experience in international affairs, responsible in his previous positions in the government for the promotion of government relations relating to the growth of tourism. Thank you, Jean-Marcel. Well, before moving on the panel, I would like to do a very brief framework, a proper framework of hard figures about South America, about our region. First of all, I will introduce the panel. We will have a panel discussion at the initial stage, and then we will continue, with Invest in Brazil, presenting opportunities and projects in hospitality and tourism. Well, why South America? This is the question that we will discuss, but just to give you an introduction, you can see I just compiled some figures about the region in terms of growth demand. You can see from the last 10 years, the average annual growth rate that is almost double from 2003 to 2012, almost double comparing to the world, and most double comparing to America's growth. We are talking about from 14.2 millions up to 27.1 in 10 years. That's the international tourism arrival growth that South America experienced as a region. In 2002, just to have the full year, you see also the average annual growth rate with 0.4 above America's and region. And even though 2013 preliminary figures shows a slowdown in the figures, I would like to respond to the question, start responding to the question, showing why the tremendous growth that, according to WTA figures presented recently, will experience the region from here 16 years ahead. In this case, you will see the world, Americas, and particularly in South America, that in 16 years ahead will double international tourism arrival. Part of the question answered by the two global events that Brazil is hosting particularly within 3 months to see the best football in the world. We are so fanatic in Brazil, in Argentina, and in all the whole countries. And then 2 years ahead, the Olympic Games. So that's give part of the explanation of why South America is an investment opportunity. And again, I did the comparison with the world and the America's comparison, and you can see the annual growth rate, how it's compared with that. To show it in a figure, you can see the green line about South America in terms of how WTO expects how the region will capture tourism demand. So that will vitalize the project that you can expect to have in South America. And finally, just to give you a case of Argentina, the country where I come from, I work for a private organization that gathers the whole private sector, hotels, travel agencies, transport, airlines, and we work to develop tourism closely with the government. In these are the figures that you can see, just to give you, from the last 10 years, how Argentina experienced growth based on this demand growth, in terms of national tourist arrival, in terms of international tourist arrival, in terms of hotel investment, from 8,000 hotels in 2003 up to 13,000 hotels in 2012, and then finally in jobs, what is the impact that you know that we have in tourism. And finally, the positioning that Brazil and Argentina holds in the CBI, the country brand index that Future Brand publish every year, positioning Brazil in the 28th and Argentina in the 30 ranking. So this is just to give you a framework, but let's go to the panel discussion and trying to answer the question on why is South America an investment opportunity. I would like to start with Ricardo from his expertise. Ricardo, what can you?
Well, thank you for the invitation. I think the South America in general is experiencing a very similar situation with some difference, of course. It's a big region. Some countries living some political instability. But in general, we see a tremendous growth in the economy. The rise of a middle class. Only in Brazil, for example, 40 million people were moved from Class C to Class B in the last 6 to 8 years. So they are consuming, they are buying residences for the first time, cars, and now they start consuming leisure. So in general, we can say that the transformation of the economy is very favorable for the hotel development. The region is totally undersupplied. If you take one of the measures that the hotel supply ratio, that is one hotel room for each 1,000 inhabitants.
One hotel room for 1,000?
Yes, you're going to see that, just as an example, US has almost 16 rooms for every 1,000 inhabitants. UK, close to 9. Just to give an example of developed countries. The region, it's about average of 1.2. And that's because Mexico counts a lot. Mexico has the resort area. So if you take some Brazil, for example, it's 1.4 hotel rooms for each 1,000 inhabitants. Colombia is 0.8, Peru 0.8, 0.9. So
no more than 2.
No more than 2. So we think that the market can absorb just with the level of investments that are happening in the region, mainly in infrastructure, mining, oil. We think that in the next 10 years, the market can absorb a growth of compound 5% a year on these main countries. Right. So that's where I see the opportunity.
And you put in on the table the point that it's not only international arrivals that drive growth, but also national arrivals.
Yeah, no, still the market is dominated by the domestic market. So you can tell that in this in Brazil, Colombia, Peru, Chile, probably the hotels is still 80 to 85% of the demand is domestic.
Intra-regional demand.
As a total, of course, if you go to the luxury hotels, you're going to have like half and half. But mostly domestic, and then after the regional. So definitely, as you mentioned, these two events will benefit the whole region.
Yeah.
And that's what we believe.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ricardo. Jose, as a hotel owner and tour operator with hotels in the region, you have something to add, absolutely.
Sure. Well, we have still a lot to learn. We have learned a lot from Ricardo from the very beginning. We have 13 hotels in 4 countries, Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, and Colombia. We own and manage. And actually, it has been a tremendous learning curve that we have faced. Of course, as Ricardo was saying, we are totally focused on the regional markets. Just to give an idea, I mean, Brazil alone, where we have more hotels, gets less than half of the international travelers than Portugal, which is a small country. So about 6 million. Portugal gets 12 million. So I think there you can see the tremendous potential for growth in terms of international tourism. Of course, looking inside the middle class, the growth of the middle class has been the engine of the economy and, of course, of the hotel industry. I think the potential also comes from what we, South America, call stability, which to the eyes of an European may look very unstable, but what you see now in South America is stability, even if it might look a bit strange to a European, that's what it is. And I think one of the most important part of the potential of South America is truly the diversity of products that you can offer. I'm not talking only about Brazil, but talking about Peru, talking about Colombia. You have from historical to leisure areas, and I think that the potential is tremendous if you consider the diversity of products that you can have there. Still, of course, a lot of room to grow. I think that the lack of offer is globally a reality, but in certain cities, as we will see, it's not as evident like one might think. And definitely, I think that it's an area after 13 years there where I think a good business plan really is something that you have to work on, because there's a lot of homework to do, because not only it is a complex environment, but also the diversity of the economies require really a lot of homework before you get in. Yeah. A lot of potential, but some homework to be done.
Do the right things.
Do the right things.
And Jean-Marcel, absolutely, you have something to say about why Brazil and South America, it's an investment opportunity.
Yes, thank you, Ramiro. Well, most of what I would say has already been said here by Ricardo and Jose. I think the potential is enormous. The creation of the Ministry of Tourism in Brazil and also in Argentina by the same time is an example of how the governments invest in tourism. We see tourism, people usually see tourism as leisure. Yeah? People, when we talk about tourism, people think of beaches, of a forest, of some time to rest. We see tourism as business opportunities. And I think there are plenty of opportunities in our countries. Of course, market consuming is an example that Ricardo has already said. The middle class is growing in our countries. We have stability, political stability. We have lots of products to offer for the tourists, not only many kinds of destinations and different kinds of tourism. So I think the region has a lot to grow. Last year we had around 6 million tourists visiting Brazil, foreign tourists. This is a record, but this is far from what we can reach, I think. We are far from our potential. We in Brazil, we have a goal. We are now the 7th tourist economy in the world, and we think by 2030 we could become the 3rd one. So this shows how the potential of the country is yet to be explored.
And you're expressing one, from my perspective, one of the key drivers that I think that made South America and its countries an investment opportunity. That is, that tourism is strategically prioritized in the government agendas. In this case, is that true?
Yes, it's true. It's true, and it's not nowadays because of the World Cup or the Olympic Games. It's something that has already begun 10 years ago. This, I think, we are now living the result of something that we've done in the recent past.
Yeah. And your presence here explains exactly that. How proactive, how actively governments from South America are promoting tourism. No?
And I may add also that Colombia and Peru are doing a great job on that. They create promotional agencies, not only for tourism, but to promote the economies, but they focus a lot on tourism. So Colombia Pro Export, for example, does a great job, very dynamic group, young people, very motivated, and they clearly put tourism as a priority for their country.
From Peru also.
And Peru also, yeah. So I think not only Brazil and Argentina, but those countries too are doing a great job.
Yeah, great. Well, let's move into another key question. We try to respond why. Now I would like to put on the table the where. Where are you seeing the opportunities, Jose, in South America? In terms of something you said about, in terms of developed markets, emerging markets within the region, and also which type of projects are recommended, are fitting the reality of South America?
Well, we have more of a 4-star product, so we're not really too familiar. We have a lot of information about the other market segments, but that's what we most focus. I think that our experience in Brazil has been that, of course, in the major cities, the supply is more or less okay, although cities like Rio have, in terms of quality and first location products, amazingly, I mean, you don't have more than 3,000 rooms in the beach front of Rio. I mean, then you have much more, of course, but which is a bit surprising. Like a city like Rio should have more, but in fact, occupancy is what it is. So I think that the product quality average, except maybe for São Paulo, is a big challenge. So I think there's room for good quality products there. Once you get out of the major cities, you start finding out that there is not only one Brazil, there are like 20 different Brazils. I mean, we have hotels in Curitiba in the south, and then hotels in São Luís do Maranhão, which is totally up in the north, and it's like 2 different countries. So you have to learn really about it, because it's to develop a product, you cannot think that the product that you did in the south might work in the north too. Argentina, I think if we say that Brazil is a bit erratic in the way it has been for us since '99, I think that Argentina, maybe because of the tango, we never know. Every 5 years it gives us big surprises, so a lot of emotion. So we have been trying.
What to say about that?
We have been trying to grow more in Argentina, but actually it's not very easy. And if you start going from the cities up to a more, let's say, resort area for ski area, it's extremely seasonal. It's not really worthwhile to invest. So we're not so sure. So I think that maybe in Brazil I would focus more on secondary cities. Definitely on the limited service product, what we have seen growing. I also think that the leisure segment lacks of quality, real quality and modern resorts. You have, of course, plenty, but I don't think that if you compare with the potential of the country, with the size of the country, I think that there should be room for more. Other cities that we know, like Bogota, we see, of course, a lot of potential in the Colombian economy, but an extremely competitive environment, even in our market segment. Peru showing a lot of strength, but still maybe some way to go. And surprises like Ecuador, like Quito, where they seem to be doing the homework properly and showing a certain capacity to plan in advance and to create a good business environment. So I would focus in terms of product, secondary cities, more limited service, and maybe also some leisure.
Right, right. your work, Ricardo, is absolutely demanded in this aspect? Or where are the opportunities from your perspective?
I think because Jose is a contributor of our research. JLL does every year a research that's called Hotel Investment Sentiment Survey.
Okay.
So measures the sentiment of investors. And in the last 2 years, we started doing a dedicated one to South America, to Latin America. And so most of we researched among 500 investors. And yes, Mexico, Brazil, Peru, Colombia, and Chile are by far the focus for these investors. In the next 6 months or a year, they're still going to focus on the gateway cities. I think the big cities still need, as Jose said, still need some quality supply.
Quality in terms of luxury or in terms of...
both, not only luxury, but quality hotel. With good,
hotels.
Preferable, but with good infrastructure, meeting infrastructure. Yeah, if you take Rio or even Lima, the hotels are, kind of tired already, so they need some refresh, but not only that, they need new facilities, and you cannot do much for existing hotels. So I think the focus on the gateway cities for the next 12 months will continue, but definitely I think one of the phenomena of the South American economy is the decentralization of the economy. So more and more, again, because of this infrastructures and mining and oil and investments, the economies in our countries are decentralizing, going to cities that had 40, 30,000 inhabitants, and then they went to 150,000 because of some major new investment on a cellulose plant or something like that. So and these cities lack of services and certainly like hotels. So our investors show that they in the next 2 years they're going to look a lot in the secondary cities and in Brazil in tertiary cities. So we do have some investors that already have a business plan and are starting to implement a rollout of hotels in tertiary cities.
Tertiary cities.
Exactly.
Not secondary.
Not secondary.
Further.
Tertiary cities. Cities that, in my 30 years of experience, have never been there. So thank God I have my team going there. But
ask him to say the name of a tertiary city.
My favorite one is Paraupebas.
Paraupebas.
And it's a huge mining investment from Vale, one of the largest mining companies in the world. And so definitely the tertiary cities in Brazil specifically, and maybe in Colombia. That Colombia is the most similar to Brazil in terms of the dynamic of the economy. Maybe because of the historical problems they had with the security and the drug dealers and everything. That the cities they developed independently. And now they are being connected by roads and transportation in general. And so it's a very decentralized economy too. You can pick easily 10 cities in Colombia also that are secondary and some tertiary like Paraupebas. One example is Yopal in Colombia, big oil investment. So definitely that's and the product. The most obvious would be selected service, definitely. Yeah. But although I think the gateway cities need some quality hotels too.
And a fact that explains this about secondary and tertiary cities is that, as you know, the IHIF ranking, the International Congress Association, Brazil, for example, is in the position 7 in terms of the quantity of events that they host. And it's not only São Paulo and Rio. It's not, they are entering into the ranking more secondary and tertiary cities. The same happens in Argentina. They usually have only Buenos Aires, and now we have 11 cities participating and having more than 11, 15 global international events in those. So, Jean-Marcel, what do you? We will have in the second stage of the panel presentations about key projects. But what do you think Brazil is willing, or is sustainability willing to capture in terms of projects, in terms of types of projects?
Okay. Well, before I answer a question, I hope that the surprise Argentina is prepared for us this year is not winning the World Cup. Well, I would say we have, as you said, some projects to be presented here. I want to leave the floor to my colleagues that are going to present some specific projects, very good projects. But if I were an investor, it's very easy for me to say since I'm not, but I would invest in secondary, tertiary cities in the country for sure, and especially where the markets are not so strong. Demand is very strong in the south and southeast of Brazil, but I would prefer to go to northeast, north or center of Brazil because the potential is higher and because money is cheaper there. We have some incentives from the government, so it's much cheaper to get financing to build a hotel, for example, in this region than it is in the south and southeast of the country. So I would invest in the future.
And another fact is that what is happening in the region last year is the connectivity. The intra-regional connectivity, companies like LATAM, this union with LAN and TAM, Aerolíneas Argentinas also flying direct to Brasilia, to Porto Alegre, to Belo Horizonte. Exactly. I mean, these secondary cities are getting benefit from that to a potential demand.
Yes, TAP is a very good example of companies that are flying from Brasilia, from Salvador, from Fortaleza, direct to Lisbon, for example. This is very good because Brasilia is an excellent hub in the country for flights to the north and northeast of the country.
Also the international connectivity with Emirates, with Qatar, with Turkish, exploiting the opportunities. Exactly. Well, we have 5 minutes left, so I want to go to the challenges. Ricardo, the challenges, we talk about opportunities, we see a tremendous demand growth. What about what we need in the region to work on, as Jose said, do the homework, to really get and be welcome to foreign investors?
Well, the challenges are many, but I would select two that I think it's common in the region. First one is financing, with the exception of Chile, that is the only country that has a mature capital market for many years. They really did their homework. So for many years. So you have a very, very strong capital market. So banks, commercial banks are financing any project. The rest of that, then you have a little bit of financing now in Mexico, but the rest of Latin America in general, still because of macroeconomic problems, the commercial banks are not financing. And we all know that developing banks, both regional or local, are they are good, but they don't have the dynamic that the industry needs. Yeah. And we know that the hotel industry is high leverage on that. So I think that's a common problem that maybe, again, Colombia and Peru are going this direction of the Chile direction. Yeah. I don't see in Brazil so soon, especially now that the interest rates are raising again. So, and Argentina the same. So I think the common problem, the most challenging for the industry, it's financing, and not only financing for developing projects, but also for acquisitions. I think the market learns a lot when the investors come and buy. They don't want to take the risk of development. They many times want to try or test the destination, buying an existing hotel, more stable, more mature. But there's no financing for that, not even from the development banks. Absolutely. So definitely, I think the challenge is finance, and until we solve this, that's why the industry is so fragmented in terms of ownership in the region. There's condo hotels in Brazil, it's Fideicomiso in Colombia and Peru, Argentina, growing with condo hotels too. So the fragmented structure is not good for the industry. Yeah. We all know that. We all learned with that. Yeah. So that's, for me, is probably the biggest challenge. And the second challenge that we also show in this research we do is the lack of experienced developers in the region, people that really understand how to develop hotels. So the idea to come to this region is to partner with developers, but finding developers that have real local developers, but you have excellent residential shopping centers or office developers in the whole region, but very few with hotel expertise. And then, as a matter of fact, the developers in the region don't understand the hotel business. Therefore, they don't like the hotel business. So that's, for me, is the second challenge, finding local developers. And if I have time, I want to add a third one. 30 seconds. Is the industry, we all know, we learn here in the conference that the industry grows a lot with franchise. And finding local independent operators that you can rely your brand is also very difficult. Again, the best example is Colombia. Colombia, for some reason, they have some good local and independent operators that are actually operating regionally. But other than that, it's very difficult to find experienced operators.
That's why companies like Pestana, Accor, Hilton, Starwood, they are working very hard, working on projects. So before giving a minute to Jose and Jean-Marcel to close their opinion, I just listed some of the conclusions. Growing demand, FIFA 2014, Olympic Games, secondary market opportunities, do the homework. That's you need to patentize this phrase, and public and private cooperation in terms of what Jean-Marcel put on the table. So, Jose and Jean-Marcel, 1 minute each, just to conclude.
Sure. I think that one thing we don't need is the political thrills that we have had in the past. I think we really, the hotel business is already a cyclical one. Everybody knows it's not an easy one. It's a long-term thing. So we cannot afford to be in a capital-intensive industry that is already cyclical by itself, with political thrills in the different countries. So that's a big challenge. I think it's something that we really need to make sure we have in South America is stability. We have businesses in 15 countries, and definitely the hardest to do business in are in South America. So that's one thing. Definitely, I think that accessibility is a big challenge. When you look at a country like Brazil that has 6 million foreign visitors, I think that the main reason for that should be not having enough cheap and direct flights. That's the way tourism grows everywhere in the world. So South America will not be the exception. I think that definitely trying to promote accessibility is essential. Of course, image is critical. Everybody is fighting on the same market with huge marketing budgets being spent by many countries. So the countries in South America have to, if they want to play in the first league, in the Champions League, they have to spend more, and they have to invest much more to make sure they have a slice of the cake. So finally, I think that, of course, the financial constraints in countries like Brazil, in which you pay a fortune for a loan, is something that really will, for sure, bring constraints to the market. But you shouldn't forget also the tax, because that depends a lot from the government, and the tax burden in Brazil, especially in Brazil, I don't want to focus too much in Brazil, but that's where we have more properties, is becoming absurd. So I think it's something that you should really consider, because I mean, it's like a game where the rules change during the game. When you start the game, the rules are like this. When you end the game, the rules have changed, and that's not fair for an investor, because we need stability also on the tax side. And finally, I think that the human resources is for Brazil again. I think that you have a much better condition in Argentina and in Chile, but in Brazil is a tremendous challenge. We are giving now positions of assistant manager to persons who are not really qualified enough to have those positions. We are paying high salaries because there is a lack of qualified person, and I think that in the end, that will affect the quality of the product. And I think that Brazil having these two tremendous challenges like the World Cup and the Olympics, I think that's a big effort on human resources is required.
See the potential to go for it.
Well, the potential is there. There is a very young population, so you just need to invest seriously in education, and that's something that now I'm to finish with a little bit of politics that you would expect from a socialist-oriented government to invest in the people.
Okay.
You know, I think that's something that you should expect from a government like that.
Thank you, Jose. Jean-Marcel.
Well, I think there are many challenges for sure. Most of them have already been said here. I think the biggest one is infrastructure. We need to have a better infrastructure to receive more tourists. Of course, we see challenges as an incentive to work harder and try to reduce them. The government is working hard to invest in infrastructure in the country. It's becoming much better. I know there is still a lot to be done. And specifically talking about tourism, I think hotel is a good example. That's why we are here. We need more investments. We need new hotels. We need better roads. We need better airports. And this is what we are trying to do. This is not something that we can... Yes, this is not a problem you can solve from one day to the other, but it's a long-term challenge. So,
and as we said, it's a strategically decision from the governments to
Exactly.
support
Yeah.
and have tourism as a
Yeah.
priority.
yeah, the good news is that we are aware of that and we are working hard to reduce these problems.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before passing on Jean-Marcel and Brazil team to show the opportunities, please join me with an applause to thank the experience. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for staying here. This is our ambassador, Ms. Maria Luisa Viotti. She's ambassador of Brazil in Germany. And thank you very much for coming, Ambassador. She'll give us the honor to talk a little bit about Brazil and especially about our economic situation before we present specific projects for investments in hotels. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for coming.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure for me to be here this afternoon and to speak a little bit to you about Brazil and the opportunities that we find in Brazil right now for international investment in tourism. So I'd like to start by saying that Brazil is usually associated with a country of colorful images, a land of soccer, samba, breathtaking natural beauty, sunny beaches, lush forests, and friendly people. Those are some of the stereotypes usually associated to Brazil, but I'm afraid, although they are true and they're there to be enjoyed, they do not really capture the full picture, the whole complexity and diversity that Brazil is all about, and especially the present circumstances in Brazil right now. So someone going for the World Cup in Brazil will see a country that has made very important strides, for instance, in reducing inequalities, which has been also something that has been associated to Brazil for a long time. It has been a country, Brazil has been a country of contrasts, but in the past few decades, there has been a great advancement in Brazil in terms of reducing inequalities and lifting a large segment of the population out of poverty. So now Brazil is mainly a country of a huge middle class as a result of public policies to reduce inequalities, as a result of growth in the past few decades. And it has become a large consumer market. It is, for instance, it has been turned into a large world market for cars, for computers, for cell phones, refrigerators, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics. So it's a new Brazil that is being built within the framework of sound macroeconomic fundamentals, a country that has stable finances and so on, and that is also poised to become or to again proceed to a very important phase of growth based on infrastructure this time, with major investment programs on roads, ports, airports, also a country that is investing a lot in education, in innovation. And so this is the new Brazil that someone going for the World Cup would be able to see. And of course, those new opportunities, which also extend to the tourism sector, present also huge opportunities for those interested in investing in tourism in Brazil. And of course, the past few years, the last decade has been a golden decade for the tourism industry in Brazil, which has grown at a rate of approximately 6% per year. There are important major projects going on in Brazil right now in the tourism industry. And Brazil offers a range of options from business tourism to ecotourism, adventure, vacation, mountain, sea, whatever you can think of, I think Brazil is able to offer it. And this has attracted a lot of attention from tourists all over the world. So I think that what I wanted to tell you at this point is that there are many interesting opportunities. Those opportunities are present a field for businessmen from all over the world, because we are very much aware of the fact that the success that Brazil will achieve in expanding the tourist industry will very much rely on partnerships, public-private partnerships, partnerships between Brazilian companies and corporations from all over the world. So I think that the message I'd like to leave with you is that Brazil welcomes investments in the business sector, in the tourism sector, and there are great opportunities to be enjoyed in Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ambassador. I would invite you to please have a seat. So we will now talk about a very famous hotel in Brazil. It's not me. I would like to invite Ms. Klaus Bender to present this opportunity here. Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening. Well, I don't want to present some opportunity. I only want to present an investment we are just focusing on. What's that? Okay. So on February 1st this year, we signed an SPA with Rex. This is the investment company and real estate company of Mr. Eike Batista. It's, I would say, an icon in Rio de Janeiro. It was built in 1922, I think, even some days before the Copacabana Palace was opened. It's same architecture, and the facade is, if you are familiar with that, rather looking the same. It was run down a little bit till 2008. In 2008, it was bought by Rex, the Eike Batista group, and they had the intention to bring it to the top level, which is still our intention. You see that the location a little bit changed. At that time, 1922, it was a beach hotel. Today is not, but the big point is it's really a kind of trophy. It's one, I would say, the number one in Rio when it's finished. The reason why we made it is here, the location. It's not a Copacabana, it's not an Ipanema hotel, but it's the one 5-star hotel with adjacent to downtown area. with adjacent to the Marina de Gloria, which is a big celebration in the Olympics, and especially to the local airport. So all distances are somewhere in the 10 minutes area to drive, which is remarkable for Rio. If you stay during daytime or rush hour in Copacabana, you want to go to downtown, you better take a helicopter, not driving. By helicopter, we also have a helipad in this area, so also ready for anyone who wants not to travel but to fly. This is, according to the design, the lobby where you have the pool on the top, and hopefully you see some nice women swimming there while you check in. And you see that on the top, the rooftop, which is according to the design of Jeffrey Beers. This is how it will look like when it's finished. Here you have some numbers, I think. Yeah, I got it from Ricardo. You see the occupancy rates. And this is, the area is called Gloria, and that's the reason why this hotel is called Gloria itself. This is the view by night. Here you have some details. We are talking about 352 rooms. This is not yet clear because we have that problem that we have that special law in Brazil, 108 of 2010, with the ABC before 2015, so we are working on that. But in general, you have two phases with this complex. The 352 rooms is divided in the historical part, which is 202 rooms, and there is an executive tower behind. This is 150 rooms. Everything is brand new, only for the facade is kept. So you have a real brand new building with all the brand new materials. So it's a real one of the first top-notch hotels of Rio. The rest you can see, and well, the last page is really completion 2016. That's a challenge. We talked about challenge. That's our challenge. We hope that we can get the historical part before the Olympics in 2016 and the rest of the project by the end of 2016. That's our contribution to Latin America.
Thank you very, very much. Really hope that we are going to have this hotel back to the city by 2016 for the Olympic Games. Yes, we all hope that. Now I would like to invite Janaína from Calfa Group in São Paulo. She's going to present us 3 projects of some hotels. Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Janaína Nakamatsu. I'm hotel manager for Caio Calfa, which is a hotel consulting firm in Brazil, settled in São Paulo. So here I'm presenting 3 projects. Can I just put like full screen? Sure. Now it's better. So actually the first one is Alia Sustainable Conventional Hotel. We did the feasibility study. Actually the entrepreneurs of this project are right here. They're ready to talk to you if you have more interested outside when we're done with this presentation. So it's actually 188 luxury rooms. It's the first 100% sustainable hotel since the conception. So it's a project made with a lot of love from the entrepreneur. And it's actually a convention with 1,000 square meters for a convention, but this project is a little bit flexible. So the architecture project actually came from, how do you call it, concurso? a contest, and which we had about how many? 24 participants. And actually, Caio Calfá, which is my boss, was member of the jury that selected this project. So this is the location. Actually, it's in São Paulo state. So Ricardo was telling about the secondary and the tertiary cities. Campinas, actually, it's the main city of this metropolitan region. And the project is actually in Bragança Paulista, which is a city really close to Campinas. It's a metropolitan region with a lot of companies, with a lot of corporate demand. And in São Paulo itself, the city, we have the lack of space for events. So actually, in this region, about 150 kilometers away from São Paulo, we are having several projects for conventional. So this is one of them. And actually, I've just put 3 slides for each project. It's just a teaser, so once again, we're gonna be outside to explain more about them. So here we have this projection. It's really small, but yeah, outside I can show you better. So the IRR over own capital is 15%. In Brazil, it's a really good rate. I know here in Europe, the hotel market works completely different, but we're willing to explain more to you about that. The other one, it's actually near to this one that I just presented. It's actually a social events facilities, which is already in operational. It's really recognized for weddings and some of corporate events. It's called Fazenda das Cabras. Translating, it will be goat farm. It's really a charming location. It's really beautiful. And actually, our client is the landowner. So he has this farm, and he has the land to build a hotel because he doesn't have any hotels in about, the closest qualified hotel is 14 kilometers away. So here we have a lot of potential for a conventional hotel. So it's actually, the location is in Campinas, the main city of this metropolitan area. And we have this, this project, which is, it can be flexible as well. It's not a definitive project. It has 200 rooms, and the average rate will start in 230 reais, which is $137, and it goes up to 520 reais, which is about $200 a night for average daily rate. And the occupational starts in 53%, and by the 10-year operation, you will reach 68%. So the internal rate of this project is 17.5%. The other one is in Manaus, in the Amazon, in a prime location. You cannot have any other project in such location because this location was actually built in 1980 something. So there now, Maxud Plaza is actually a hotel group based in São Paulo. They used to have the best hotel in São Paulo. Now it's a little bit old, but they have this project in Manaus, which is a high-end project. So they have a hotel in the middle, 24 bungalows, which will be on the second stage, a budget hotel space, and a nautical center. So the project fact sheet is actually, it's also conventional, so it's both conventional and corporate and leisure, because in Manaus we have this lack of quality hotels. We have some main neighborhoods and districts in the city, but the demand is really growing. So we have this potential because in Manaus there's nothing of this quality. There are many budget hotels and mid-scale hotels happening in the city, but nothing on this category. So it's 2,700 square meters for events. And it has a water park and a river beach and a nautical center. So it's actually the location, is this, does it have? Oh, yeah. So this is actually North Brazil, Manaus, and the project is right here. I don't know if any of you know the Tropical Hotel, which is the most recognized one. It's really close to it, but Tropical is now not renewed or anything, so this will be the most luxury project in the city. So the occupational rate begins with 60% up to 70% with a daily rate of $350 until $941. And the GOP between 33 to 42%. So yes, these are the projects that I wanted to tell you about. And outside, we're available for more discussions if you have any interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anaína. So I would like to ask the last presenter, Mr. José Ernesto Marino, to also present some projects. I don't know if you are all aware of that. We're going to have a cocktail outside right after this session where you're going to have the opportunity to interact with the presenters here. But after his presentation, if you want to pose some questions in public, please feel free to do that, okay? Thank you very much.
So, good afternoon. Thank you very much, Brazilian government, for invitation, Mr. Ambassador. It's a really pleasure to be here with you. And of course, by this invitation, we couldn't say no, so that's why we're here. Let me tell a little bit about our company, and after that, we will present you the project we are fundraising. BSH International is a hotel investment operating partner. That's how we see ourselves. And we have a multidiscipline team that is able to understand real estate business, hotel business, finance, human resources, marketing, and everything. So that's why we are able to conceive planning and development projects, providing returns to all the players in the business. And we are always full committed to our partners. So our fees are always aligned with our partners. I'm the founder of the company. We celebrated 25th anniversary last January. When I started, I was really too young. Brazil was a really different country. And the only chance I had was creating a new demand. So that's why I travel all around. And I was happy and successful bringing many international companies to Brazil, like Somelia in 1989, and many other companies like Superclubs, Honesta, Tivoli, NH Hotels, and few big brand names like Howard Johnson, Ramada, and Days Inn. We also found the Brazil Hospitality Investment Conference, which today is being organized and promoted by Questex, the same company that organizes this company. And by the way, the Brazil conference will be on May 5th in São Paulo, so all of you are invited to attend. We were involved in more than 4 billion reais projects already built in 22 states of Brazil. The first big project that we were involved was the São Paulo World Trade Center, when 34 pension funds joined being the owner of the same assets. And with that property, it started our asset management division. Here we have a few examples of projects we've assisted in planning and development, like Fazano in Rio, Sheraton Barra, Four Points Curitiba in the south of Brazil, Hotel Unique in São Paulo, which is really unique, and many others all around. So why we are developing this fund? Ricardo mentioned that we have 2 biggest challenges in Brazil. One is knowledge developers of hotels, and the second one is financing. So based on these two basics, we found out our idea, our project, which is mitigating those risks. Well, basically, because of no financing, this condo hotel model was born basically in Brazil and developed in this manner that today more than 60% of hotel rooms in São Paulo are inside of condominiums, of condo hotels. And similar figures you see in other important cities like Brasília, Curitiba, Porto Alegre, Recife. And why the condo hotel model was so successful? It's basically because there is a huge market of small investors who acquired small pieces of real estate that is able to generate monthly payments as a rent or a dividend, and with a huge secondary market. In some way, is an opportunity to small investors to create like a pension plan to small real estate pieces. So our fund proposition is based on the following assumptions. First, small investors are wiser and more selective. Second, real estate developers are not experts in hotel businesses, and they are ready to reduce their profit margins if risk is reduced by selling entire property to a single buyer. And the proposition of this fund is to be this single buyer. Hotel operators are focusing service agreements with risk-free operations, but starving for businesses in good locations, and some of them are available to take risks under leasing agreements. So what we've learned during the last 25 years is that if you provide a good product in a superb location, you'll find out a lot of operators fighting for your project and able to take risks. So we have the ability to conceptualize and to develop, assisting developers, mitigating the risks, and investors, and allowing to qualified investors buying one or more condo hotel buildings to sell them in pieces in the future. This is the exit strategy. So because of complexity of the tax system in Brazil, one of the knowledge we put in this equation is a way to reduce taxes, to maximize returns. So if eventually someone is interested, we could explain in details personally. The first project we are involved, and it's already being built, is in Curitiba. And it's called the 5 because there are 5 different uses. How this project is started. I can tell you briefly the story of this project because it's able to show you how we work and our technology. The developer of this project, Tecnisa Group, is one of the listed companies in São Paulo Stock Exchange. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. And they came to us with a piece of land saying, listen, in principle, we would plan 2 towers, one office towers with office suites, and a second tower residential with small residential, 1 bedroom and studios apartments. But the market is very tough, and we would like to have something different. So they signed an agreement with us, allowing us to research the market the way we want, with all flexibility we want, except bringing to them a project allowing them to achieve a certain return. So based on this, we studied the entire market, and then we found out one business model that is able to deliver the returns to the developer, the returns to the future investors, and the returns to all owners of this complex. For example, we discovered that the local law allows you to build more if you create some convenience stores in the base of your building. So that's why we decided to create a mall. With this mall, we were able to create a bigger building, and this bigger building is able to deliver the returns in the real estate development. After we decided the concept that is able to deliver the return, we then designed the projects to the developer. We create the system of governance. We wrote all the contracts, and at the end, we provided a competitive selection process with hotel companies. And at the end, NH Hotels from Spain conquered the leasing agreement guaranteeing some returns to the owners. The location of this project is really superb. It's going to be the best urban hotel in town. Excuse me for José Roquette, who owns a very nice hotel in town. And in a city that is the fourth wealthiest city in Brazil and poised to be the third. The hotel product is fully dedicated to the business market. So that's why we designed a hotel room with a very nice workspace, a fantastic fitness center, and we were able to join the technology of NH Hotels with Ferran Adrià and with Paco Roncero knowledge, creating the Noob, creating Estado Puro restaurant, and etc. So basically, this kind of property is able to generate unleveraged, net of taxes, net of fees, net of everything, an internal rate of return of 14%, because during construction, instead of paying interest to the banks, the developer is able paying interest to us, to the fund. And because of the shape of the market, we are able to capture a very good return, and this calculation is based on the hotel returns and the sale of the project, and including the exit strategy. We have $1 billion pipeline in our funds. This is the only project that we can show in public, because all of them are a lot of NDAs, so you know this industry very well. But I can tell you about a future project because we've just bought this piece of land in Salvador of Bahia. This is the project already designed. The developer is us. Incorp is another company that we've found a few years ago. And the location is really superb. It's beachfront, nearby the convention center, nearby the financial center, and nearby of a shopping mall that is being taken over recently by the largest shopping mall company in Brazil of the Gereissati family. So we are looking for strategic capital partners to start this financial vehicle, and I'm available to talk to all of you during cocktail if you want. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marino. Is there any question you would like to present now, or would you prefer going to the cocktail? Okay. I would like once again to thank you, each one of you, very much for your attention, for staying for so long here. I'd like to thank our ambassador for coming and all the presenters, and especially Chelsea and Questix for all the support. Okay, thank you very much.